So he suggests now, practical suggestion. As I said earlier, Sri Ramakrishna's instructions are full of practical ways. What all he has said, we have to follow. I only follow out of 199, one I don't follow. Even if you follow 99 and leave out one, you won't get the result. You have to follow all the 100 practical instructions, whatever he has given. Because everything has got its value. Everything has got its purpose. Otherwise, why should he tell? So he is telling you how to comprehend spiritual things with this ordinary intellect. Very ordinary intellect. It only knows how to get itself confused. That is the type of intellect we have. So Sri Ramakrishna suggests to understand the spiritual things, it is very essential that you should live in the company of holy. That's the important suggestion Sri Ramakrishna has given. He has told many times and is telling now also. And he gives an example. Suppose you live with a physician, doctor. You can learn to feel the pulse. Swami Brahmananji, one of the direct disciples of Sri Ramakrishna, said, if you become associated with holy company, what will happen? You will hear spiritual talks which will make an impression upon your mind. That's very important. He gives an example. A bee hiding in a fragrant flower offered in the worship touches the feet of the Lord. Similarly, by the grace and association of a holy one, you will surpass even the gods and you are sure to attain liberation, freedom. So what is important is that once the mind should taste sweetness in the thought of God, somehow you should make it taste it. So, seeking the holy association, you may acquire that taste. It is not an ordinary taste which you can experience now. You can experience that taste only under special circumstances, and that special circumstance is when you become associated with holy, you will be able to taste the thought of God. That's the way to counteract the taste of worldliness. The tongue has become spoiled because it's tasting all the time worldly things. Suppose a man all the time eats garlic, His mouth all the time smells garlic. How difficult it is to get rid of the smell of the garlic. Same way. Because our whole time, our whole energy is all used up in things of the world. We are totally lost in this great play of God. So, holy association assumes a very great importance. So, how does it help you? By coming in contact with holy people, you will learn about the path, and then you will walk on the path. Then alone you will reach your destination someday. Then alone will arise faith and devotion. All these things come only when you are constantly in touch with holy people. Just as you are constantly in touch with worldly associations, how you are all the time extremely engaged, involved in the worldly matters. How more and more you are drawn towards varieties of the world. So if you have to have faith and devotion in God, if you have to have true love towards Him, it is essential that you should become associated with holy people, that is, who live that life, who always meditate on God, who think of God, who speak of God, who discuss about spiritual matters, whose life is pure and model, such people, whose character is well established. Of course, if you surrender yourself to God, everything becomes easy. That's true. But the act of surrendering is not so easy. Though once you surrender, it becomes easy. That's true. But surrendering itself is not easy. That means you need some special grace of God, without which you can't take refuge in Him. In order to feel this special grace, you must become associated with holy people. Read sacred books. Constantly pray. You must engage your mind in these activities, in these spiritual activities. You must engage the mind. You should not give any time to the mind to think of other things. If you keep the mind busily engaged in this spiritual pursuit, to that extent, you are saved from the dangers of the worldly distractions. And of course, definite ways are clearly mentioned. It is important for us to note, even though it may not be possible for us to practice it. Why it is not possible to practice? Because we are weak. We are not strong enough. To live a spiritual life, you require special strength. This ordinary strength will not help you. It can help a little bit. So what? How to develop that special strength? Then again comes Sri Ramakrishna tells you, practice continence. Don't let loose your vital energy recklessly. That's the meaning. Have control. Have control. So, practice of continence, repetition of God's name called japa, and meditation. These three things are to be done, and the company of the holy. These are the different ways of taking you towards God face to face. So, why they prescribe so much this holy association? Because by coming in contact with holy people, your mind becomes purified. It becomes purified. And when you practice spiritual disciplines, then yearning will go, yearning will come. It will grow immensely. You would love to see God as soon as possible. There's a book called For Seekers of God by Swami Chidananda. There, Swami Chidananda ji has said, what will happen when you become associated with the Holy One? You will be freed from worldly attachments. You will be freed from botherations of the world. All your wants and desires will be destroyed root and branch, and you will feel nearness of God. Holy company is therefore so effective that it generates love of God. Swami Chidananda ji himself narrated his own experience, how the holy company was so effective. He was telling, we would go and sit with Sri Ramakrishna for an hour or two. Sometimes there would be very little talk or exchange of words. But the effect of his association lasted for days. So it would affect them in such a way they would remain in a state of spiritual intoxication, as it were, absorbed in the thought of God. That's the thing. So, your spiritual impulses, they'll be roused by coming in contact with holy people. So constant practice and vairagya, which Lord Krishna says in the Gita, dispassion. Non-attachment to thoughts other than those of your chosen deity. You are no more attached to anything else. You are neutral to other things. If at all there is attachment, you are attached to your chosen form of God. That's the way. So, you should be like fish playing happily in the ocean and not like the fish in the narrow ditch. Let your consciousness expand into the infinite and limitless. Live in the society of holy. Chant God's divine name and go beyond limits. So you must prepare yourself before starting meditation. You must create a happy, cheerful mood in yourself. Oh, I am just sitting for meditation. It will be my happiest moments. You must induce those ideas into your mind, yourself. I am very happy today. Give those suggestions, and in that happy mood you start your meditation. It will be wonderful. Swami Adbhutananda, another direct disciple of Sri Ramakrishna, he said, if you always think of holy person, you will become holy, you will become pure. On the other hand, if you think of a thief, you will become a thief. This is said by Swami Adbhutananda, not Abhedananda. Adbhutananda. Adbhutananda is one of the another direct disciple of Sri Ramakrishna. He said like this. So that means, as you think, so you will be. So thinking is very important. What are you thinking all day? Have you checked it? Have you observed from morning to night what are the various things you have thought of? How far they were spiritual, how far they were in other ways? How many dirty things come in your thoughts? Have you watched them? So pure character is formed by close association with holy. Another disciple, Swami Akhandanandaji, they are all great saints, all got training from Sri Ramakrishna. So that's why whatever they say, it appeals to our heart, how true it is. From holy association comes the words of God, discussion about God incarnate and His life and Leela, His teachings. From holy association comes the feeling of compassion, that is, love and consideration for all. You must develop that. If that is not coming, that means there is something wrong in you, in your method, in your approach, in your character, in your behavior. You have to correct it immediately. That's important. Similarly, comes the feeling of humility, that God is so great and I am so little. Lastly comes the spirit of doing good to others. Doing good to others. But the source of all is holy association. It is from holy association that the first spiritual awakening takes place. It is true. To give my own example, my coming to spiritual life happened because of my association with a holy saint, Swami Chidananda ji. On my first visit, I became the recipient of Guru's grace. Now I realize really how I am very fortunate to be trained by great illumined saint. In the worldly life, people are all absorbed in the desire for enjoyment. Enjoyment, 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 enjoyment. They want to die in enjoyment. They are prepared to die any number of times if only it provides enjoyment to them. So do you think it is so easy to get rid of that? Do you think it is so easy to burn that desire for enjoyment? Burn means to burn heat is required. So, some heat is necessary first to dry up the mind soaked with thoughts of enjoyment. The holy association gives you that required heat. As long as the desires of the worldly affairs occupy your mind, you will not be able to comprehend God's grace. You will not be able to see God. So you have to bundle all the desires in a trash bag and forcefully throw out the trash bag outside your mind. That's the way. Anyway, that's the important point. God can be seen, and we should practice spiritual life with steadfastness. Every moment is important. We have to make use of the time in the best possible way. Engagement always in spiritual activities. Be always watchful and never miss your spiritual practices, even for a day. Let us pray to Him for peace. Sri Ramakrishna was talking to an actor. Sri Ramakrishna was impressed by her performance in the theatre, and she was so much attracted towards the spiritual personality of Sri Ramakrishna. She came to offer her respects. She was really fortunate to come in contact with Sri Ramakrishna. Is it an easy thing to come in touch with a truly holy person? One must be very fortunate. He was talking to him, to her, and she asked him, well, how does one realize the Atman? She was somehow interested to know whether there is any possibility to realize, because she had heard of this many times. She wanted to be sure whether it could be achieved. Sri Ramakrishna said, well, it is possible, but are you prepared to work for it? That's an important question. Suppose you want to become a doctor. How you struggle? 5, 6 years. You have to pass through the ordeal of learning things about anatomy, etc. And even before getting 5-year intense course, you will have to have one course for pre-medicine. So many things. On the whole, how much you struggle and struggle, finally you achieve what you wanted. You become a doctor because you worked for it wholeheartedly, so you become expert. And thereafter you enjoy that profession. All this was possible because you liked it, you worked for it wholeheartedly, you got it. Same rule applies with respect to realization of Atman or God, whatever name you call. So what is required? Very essential factor to achieve this goal of realization. Sri Ramakrishna says, longing. Longing is the means of realizing Atman. He is telling you should devote whole attention. Then only the longing bears its fruit, namely the vision of God. So you have to devote wholeheartedly towards that. You have to think of the divine day and night. That's very important. Why we are not able to see God? Why we are not able to have the vision? It is because the mind is not turned towards Him. A little patch of black cloud is enough to cover the brilliant, bright sun. The glory of sun is there, always ever shining, giving light to the whole universe. That light has been covered up by a little patch of cloud. So, when a little part of our mind is turned towards the world, the vision of God is obscured. There should not be any patch of cloud. Then only you can see the bright sun. Then only you will enjoy the glory. So, very important thing is how you would be able to turn your whole mind towards God. That's the important point which we should remember. Sri Ramakrishna tells the mind is compared to a white cloth just returned from the laundry. It takes on the color you dip it in. So, he is giving instruction to the actor through her to all of us. What is required is purification of the mind. The very fact the mind is running after the external things, the very fact that the mind is attached to worldly things shows that the mind is not pure. So everything is understandable. There is no need to ask question with anybody. You ask yourself, how my mind is cooperating with me in thinking about God. Sometimes you have very fine, excellent meditation, and you feel immense peace and joy, and then you will say, oh, this time I had a wonderful meditation. Just for 5 minutes I had wonderful peace. So that was possible because the whole mind was able to sit quietly on the spiritual thought. So, you have to purify the mind. It's a must. Then, that purified mind must be directed to the contemplation. Then it will be colored by God consciousness. But what is happening? What are we doing from morning to night? We are putting the mind on the worldly things. You may call it, it is my duty, who will feed me, who will give me water. You may have 1 million reasons to say that you are justified in keeping the mind on the world. Well, you may give 1 million reasons. The answer is very simple. You won't get the vision of God. That's all. So, because the mind is constantly pushed, projected outwards, continuously, it is colored by worldliness. It's colored by worldliness. The thick, black cloud of worldliness has covered the wonderful glory of Atman. So, what should be done? You know the cloth is dirty. How to clean it? You have to think of strong detergents, to clean the cloth. So here Sri Ramakrishna tells you, pray to God. Pray to Him to remove all the cravings for enjoyment. Every moment you want to enjoy, you are degrading yourself to that extent. You are going far away from spiritual happiness. So when only all the cravings are removed from the mind, then only longing for God will be awakened. So you will have to intensify that longing. Whatever you may be doing, whether you are sitting, whether you are lying down, whether you are eating, whether you are working, you must always keep on praying constantly. Internal. You don't have to show to the people that you are praying. It's all internal. Always you should think that your time on earth is but short and that your real home is at the lotus feet of the Lord. Of course, when I speak this way, it means we are having dualistic approach. It is true. You can't comprehend the non-dualistic reality as long as you are in this relative world. You would love to communicate. You would love to see a person with whom you can exchange your feelings. You need an object to have the experience of joy. So, the Supreme Godhead, pervading the whole universe, is capable of taking any number of forms, is capable of assuming any form for the sake of the devotees. And he is prepared to show the vision. Once you have the vision, then you become attracted towards that, then you become one with it, then you realize the non-dual aspect of the truth. So, in one sense, all the forms of God are real. Because the form of Kali was there, Sri Ramakrishna could realize her. If that form was not there, how could Sri Ramakrishna see her? That means all the divine forms are there. It depends upon how you invoke them, how you love them, how you treat them. Accordingly, you will have the result. So, always you should think that your time on earth is but short and that your real home is at the lotus feet of the Lord. That makes you aware not to waste the time anymore, not to simply go on reasoning, arguing about things. Stop all argument. Stop all reasoning. Simply keep also doing the things. What things to be done, keep on doing them. Not talking about anymore. That is what is needed. If you sincerely long for God, then you must feel more and more interested in contemplation and meditation. You would love to meditate, you would love to sit, you would love to think of Him. Because the more you think, the more peaceful you become. As I said, all the cravings of the mind must be got rid of if you have to have real meditation. Sri Ramakrishna gives an example. Suppose a child is absorbed in playing with a toy dog. It is so joyful to play with the dog, and he throws it, and the toy dog, it jumps up from the ground because of the spring action. The child runs after it again. In so many ways it tries to play with the dog. So as long as the child is playing with the toy dog, the child doesn't want its mother for the time being, or it might be forgetful of its mother. And mother also is satisfied. Oh, my child is playing, let him play. Child is not crying, child is happy, mother is happy to see child is happy. That's all. So she attends to her own things. After some time, how long the child will play? It feels bored, gets tired, it doesn't relish the game anymore, then just throws away the toy dog which it loved so much before, and now it begins to cry for the mother. Crying loudly. Wherever the mother is there, she should come running to him. The intensity of crying is such. The mother drops everything, runs to the child, takes him in her arms. Even so, as long as you are busy, extremely busy, totally involved in the play of the world, God is happy, you are enjoying the world. Let Him enjoy. Let Him enjoy. And probably if God comes there, you may not like, oh, He is obstructing my joy. I want to have the taste of the world. Why God is coming now? You may grumble. So God doesn't want that position. No. Let all His enjoyments be over, then I will come. That is how God thinks. So, why you are not getting the vision of God? Because the whole mind is not towards God. Simple. As I said, little black patch of cloud is enough to cover the wonderful sun shining the whole universe. Lord always looks into your heart. If you have devotion for Him, then that devotion surely awakens longing in you. When once longing comes, God cannot but give you vision. So surrender yourself to Him wholeheartedly. Love Him, yearn for Him, seek refuge in Him. Swami Brahmanandaji, one of the direct disciples of Sri Ramakrishna, said to the disciples, no one wants misery. Yet the deluded one ignores God, the source of all happiness. And he runs after the worthless toys of life. Do you really want happiness? Do you really want peace? If that is so, throw away these toys and yearn for God. He will run to you and take you in his arms, like the mother takes his child in her arms. These are the words of Swami Brahmanandaji, the illumined soul. So, you must yearn for God. At the same time, you must not be impatient. Even if you don't see light, even if you don't have any visions, don't give up your devotions. These are all tests for you. Only those who love God like shopkeepers looking for profit will give up if their prayers are not answered immediately. What's the use of praying to God? He is not answering me. That is shopkeeping love. You want something, as long as he provides you something, you love him. The moment for some reason he is not able to give you, you throw him away. What kind of love is that? What kind of love? That is the nature of the worldly love. Spiritual love is not like that. So, as Sri Ramakrishna said, what is required is purification of the mind. How to achieve it? Holy association and practice of spiritual disciplines. Once the mind gets purified, then you will see how yearning will grow. That's a very important point. There was one devotee who was coming here last year. Very fine person. He had a family. He had 2 grown-up children, sons. They are very good. Both the sons were PhDs. Wife also had some master's degree, and she was also working in some job. Financially, no problem. But this devotee was so much after seeking the spiritual light. He felt intense yearning in his heart that he should meditate whole time. I have seen here coming and sitting for 7 hours at a stretch. I had not seen a person like that. Wonderful personality. It's all encouraging to see such people. And finally, he left Chicago. He went back to India to continue his meditation in some hermitage. He wrote a letter also. fine letter he wrote me before going to India. Well, so once the mind gets purified, the yearning simply bubbles up. It comes to the surface. You won't tolerate anymore. You have to realize the truth in this very life. Of course, all this will not happen in a single day. How our propensities are in our mind, in what way they are working in the mind, depends upon that. So, you must persist in your efforts. Never stop effort. Persisting effort is required. That means determination. Then everything will come out in due course. Be strong, be doing. So, renunciation, detachment, purity and sincere hankering for God realization, these are the main factors. And Sri Ramakrishna has told many times, God is a lover of his devotees. He loves the devotees. Do you want to satisfy God? If you want to satisfy him, do it with love and devotion. That's all what he wants. He reveals himself wherever there are yearning and love. So, to have the yearning is a great good fortune. So one of the direct disciples of Sri Ramakrishna said, make your heart a temple of the Lord and install him there. Take his name and forever lose yourself in him. When you really hanker after God, he will raise your mind from things of the world and grant you vision. You don't have to worry. What will happen to this? What will happen to that? Stop worrying like that. The more you worry, the more worried you become. How to be free from worries? Not to give any attention to the worries. That's one way. Be indifferent to the worries. Bury the worries. But as long as you are attached to the world, as long as you are strongly inclined to the things of the world, you can't avoid worries. Worries multiply. As long as worries are there in your mind, you can't have the yearning for the Lord with all your heart. Unless the black stain is removed, it is covering the light of the Atman. So finally Sri Ramakrishna tells, know for certain that the Lord hears everything and knows everything He listens to your least whisper. He is aware of every thought that arises in your mind. Whatever you ask of him with a yearning heart will be granted. So, when the actor asked Sri Ramakrishna how to realize Atman, Sri Ramakrishna tells, realization of the Atman is possible if you have intense longing. Longing is possible if the mind is pure. Purity of the mind is achieved when the cravings of enjoyment are removed. All these things become easy when you become associated with holy persons. Holy association, spiritual ideas, renunciation, detachment are all important factors for realizing the truth. With these words, Sri Ramakrishna was conversing with an actor Sri Ramakrishna said to her, who showed some interest in the spiritual path, of all the actors, only she showed some interest in coming to Sri Ramakrishna, and really she was a fortunate lady. She got direct instructions from Sri Ramakrishna, which electrified her whole being. Just by hearing what Sri Ramakrishna said, she felt immensely pure. Sri Ramakrishna's words had that tremendous power of transformation. Just his telling is enough to feed those ideas into the heart of the person, and it would do wonders. Sri Ramakrishna's instructions to all these disciples have been well recorded, and how the matter has become very easy for us. What is required is just follow the instructions. Everything will come. Everything will come. So, he was telling to her, well, most important thing is purification of the mind. First and foremost in the spiritual life is purification of the mind. Afterwards, if that purified mind is directed towards contemplation of God, that mind will be colored by God consciousness. The whole mind becomes full of the Spirit of God. And Sri Ramakrishna tells why people are not able to see God. What's the reason? The reason is the mind has been directed to worldly things. As a result, the mind has been colored by worldliness. Worldliness. So, very distinctly, Sri Ramakrishna has pointed out, it's not necessary for you to read volumes of books to understand this fact. It's very simple. Turn the mind away from the world, you will see God. That's the point. Very important point Sri Ramakrishna has said. So, let us try to understand what is purification of the mind. It's a must. Without purification of the mind, it is not possible to have illumination. So, you have to struggle. Let the whole life go, doesn't matter, in trying to purify the mind if necessary. Because that is very important. So there is no point simply telling, oh, I have read so many books, I am trying to do japa, meditation, yet I am not able to concentrate. Why? Because there is some kind of worldly things attached to the mind. We have to tell you the secret why you are not able to see God. This is the secret. The very fact you are not able to sit and concentrate on God means mind is not yet purified. Sanat Kumar, a great rishi, he has given in a nutshell the whole course of spiritual discipline. Of course, now our immediate goal is to purify the mind. You must set that sign in front of you. As soon as you get up, you must see in front of you. Purify the mind. That should give you a good push towards what you should do. Sanat Kumar has said in the Upanishad, it comes, if the food is pure, your nature becomes pure. Once the nature becomes pure, your mind becomes pure. When the mind becomes pure, you remember your spiritual nature. Then that will lead you to spiritual consciousness, giving you immense joy. So, food is what we take. Everything has got its value. Does it mean pure sattvic food, pure vegetarian food? There are so many wicked people who are vegetarians. And a classic example is given. Suppose you feed a serpent with the purest of milk, it will manufacture poison. So, what is important is that something of your poisonous nature must be removed. Shankaracharya said, pure food helps good nourishment of the body. There is no doubt. Pure food means food free from stones and dirt, etc. Clean. If you take clean food, no doubt it nourishes your body. What is more important, Shankaracharya tells you, the food that you take through the eye, through the ear, through the senses and the mind, that food also should be pure. Then your nature becomes pure. Then the subtle body, that is your inner body, not this external gross one, the inner body becomes pure. So that means what you take inside is called food. By seeing, if you see dirty things, you are taking dirty stuff inside your mind. To that extent, you are soiling the mind. If you hear dirty things, to that extent, you are spoiling your mind. So, if you talk dirty things, that will also create a kind of unpleasantness. So you have to be careful in all these respects. You are a conscious being, not an animal. Some animals, elephant also takes only leaves, plantains. It's very fond of taking plantains. What of that? It's an elephant only. But you are a conscious being. You can do, you can achieve what could not be achieved by other beings. There is a story of 3 Japanese monkeys, which is very well known. It has got a great significance. 3 monkeys are there. One monkey is closing both the ears. The other one is closing both the eyes. And the third one is closing the mouth. Swami Chidananda ji, in one of his talks, said, referring to this incident, he saw in Switzerland a stone carving. There were also 3 monkeys, but with little difference. One had only one eye closed, the other one had only one ear closed, the third had half the mouth closed. It has got great spiritual significance. If you have eyes to see, if you have ears to hear, you can understand many things. But you have to be keen. The more you are keen, the more you will understand. The interpretation is, Don't see what is bad. See what is good. That's the meaning of closing one eye. Don't hear what is bad. Hear what is good. Don't say what is bad. Say what is good. Very nicely explained, What tremendous philosophy is there. If you adopt this in your life, you must become pure. But you have to follow very strictly. If you don't have strictness in doing the things, then it's very difficult to maintain your purity. In the Upanishads also, the same idea has been given. Bhadram karne vishrunuyama devaha bhadram pasye makshabhiryajatraha. Like that, the Vedas say. The meaning is, let us see what is good. Let us hear what is good. Let us sing the glory of God. That's the meaning of that Vedic statement. Even the Upanishads say. That means the truth has been given out in various expressions, in so many languages. In spite of it, if we don't understand and behave like a foolish being, then what is to be done? So, you have to follow the instructions. That is why the guru-disciple relationship has great importance. The disciple should simply follow the instructions of the guru, who is very much concerned about the spiritual unfoldment of the disciple. So, through Guru's grace, you will be able to practice spiritual disciplines, and you will be able to achieve the goal. So, follow these instructions. Make the best use of your vocal organ. The mouth, that's one thing which we use it very frequently. Of all the things, morning to night, if there is any equipment which could record how many words we talk in the whole day, probably millions of words, millions. After those millions of words, how many words we have uttered good, how many words we have uttered bad. So, the instruction given is, take the name of the Lord. Repeat His name. Meditate on it. With little devotion. Devotion is important. Do it consciously, devotedly. You will see yourself the beauty of it. And you will feel yourself the quality of purity in your mind. How did you get peace of mind? Because of the purity of the mind. So, the divine name, the divine form, they uplift you. Have intense love for God And that will keep the mind always tranquil and pure. God is both formless and with forms. Sri Ramakrishna says, God with form is as true as God without form. Both are true. Once a devotee was sitting in front of Sri Ramakrishna, looking at him. Sri Ramakrishna was sitting cross-legged with his eyes half closed, having a kind look, affectionate look. This devotee is seeing that form. He's just looking at that form. She's looking at him with her open eyes, with her eyes open, not with her eyes closed. No. With her eyes open, she is seeing Sri Ramakrishna sitting there. Sri Ramakrishna had come to their place. She went to see him. She did her pranams. Then she sat there and looked at him. She was just looking at him. Within a few seconds, the form of Sri Ramakrishna just disappeared. She was startled. What is it? Where did he go? She is just asking herself. Immediately she saw beautiful light, circular light, mellow light, very soothing, fine, shining light she saw. And she became overwhelmed with joy. She was just wondering, what is this wonderful light? It is not scorching my eyes like the sun. At the same time, it is brighter than the sun. She is just wondering and concentrating on that light. Again that light disappeared. Again she was startled. What happened to that light? Immediately she saw again Sri Ramakrishna's form there. So this incident reveals that Sri Ramakrishna is that supreme absolute consciousness, all-pervading formless aspect. At the same time, he can take any form. And he showed to that lady that Sri Ramakrishna is the divine form. So concentrating on Sri Ramakrishna is as good as concentrating on formless aspect of God. Don't think if you concentrate on divine form, you are inferior to the man who concentrates on the formless aspect. There is no question of inferiority, superiority in the matter of spiritual. The truth flashes out to the disciple. And the disciple will realize it in all its glory. So, what is the test of the purity of the mind? You don't have to go and ask anybody and everybody. Not by wearing the dress or behaving in a particular fashion that you are trying to you are trying to establish your purity. No. The real test of purity of the mind is Your mind runs after God instead of running after worldly things. Period. There is no ambiguity here. Throughout the day, how far your mind was sitting on God or on spiritual ideas, how far your mind running helter-skelter towards things of the world. That determines your purity of the mind. Accordingly, you take the steps. Here the mind is going on. Stop it. Here it is going on. Stop it. There it is going on. Stop it. So your struggle is to stop it to go run after things. It's worth struggling. It's worth struggling. By struggling only you can make your character. Not by simply sitting idle or simply imagining or simply dreaming. No. Another important factor I am giving you, it is important to know Swami Brahmananda ji, one of the former greatest disciples, one of the great disciples of Sri Ramakrishna. He said that perfect continence is the sole condition of success in spiritual life. But it is difficult. It is difficult, even impossible to practice absolute purity without love and faith in God. To practice continence, you must have certain amount of love towards God. Certain amount of inclination towards God is required to practice continence. The world is full of temptations which arouse passions. What does it show? It shows the mind is in constant danger of becoming contaminated. Because you are surrounded by dangers. You are living in the forest of wild beasts. If you are not careful enough about yourself, you will be devoured by these passions. So, what should be done? You must engage your mind in thinking good thoughts. In studying good books and discussing uplifting subjects. These are the methods. To safeguard yourself from the danger of contamination. The mud of lust and gold that stands in the mind must be washed away. The mud should be completely removed from the mind. Then you will get God's grace, through which you will have illumination. Illumination is the final product. When all these things are taken care of, you must have illumination. So, what Sri Ramakrishna said, purification of the mind is a must to have illumination. There are so many methods of purifying the mind. Adopt as many methods as you can. Doing selfless work also purifies the mind. Why we always tell, engage yourself in selfless work. But that selfless work must be oriented with spiritual idea. Otherwise you become egoistic, arrogant, and naughty. Your motivation is very important. With what motive you are working selflessly. The spiritual motivation is important. Not for the sake of name and fame. Oh, I go and do my service there. There are people who wants, oh, please register my name as honorary surgeon of the hospital. Honorary surgeon. No doubt he goes and sacrifices some of his time in doing some work there. Probably he may help some poor people. The idea behind is, he wants his name to be publicized. He wants his picture to be adored by all the people. No. That's not the type of selfless work which I am referring to. The selfless work which I am referring to is, it must be oriented with spiritual idea. I am doing this for the purpose of realizing God. With that motivation, do whatever work you want. Vacuuming the chapel, doing work in the garden, anything, whatever you do, selfishness, jealousy, hatred, etc. must be uprooted from the mind. When these things are uprooted from the mind, then your mind is perfectly pure. So, purity and guilelessness should be your watchword. Sincerity, earnestness, and purity. These form the main foundation of spiritual life. Have you laid the foundation? Without foundation, what kind of spiritual life you are leading? If you have not done, lay the foundation first. Then raise the structure of spiritual life. Foundation is very important. These are the foundations. Sincerity, earnestness, and purity. The purer the receptacle, the quicker is God's manifestation. So, mind becomes purified when it is disciplined through morality. That's the point. So let us, I have taken only one point so that to pinpoint your attention on this most essential part of your spiritual life. There are so many ideas. Let us concentrate one by one on things and understand, assimilate, practice them properly, and make your life meaningful and blessed. Sri Ramakrishna has made very clear the spiritual ideas and how to practice them. You get the result only when you practice it. If you just study the philosophy and keep quiet, you are just a scholar, a great Pandit. Maybe you may get Nobel Prize also for your scholarship. But you are not free from bondage. You are not free from suffering. You are not free from restlessness. You are not free from tensions. You are not free from worries. So, your life is ended up as a great scholar who lived for the period of 75 years, got good reputation, Nobel Prize, kudos from all the countries, grand anniversaries for the great scholar. That's all. But Sri Ramakrishna tells you, what's the use of that scholarship if you don't practice them? It's of no use. So, Sri Ramakrishna's teachings are practical, spiritual ideas. Knowing and acting go together. You hear it and do it. That is Sri Ramakrishna's way of spiritual guidance. Those who come to Sri Ramakrishna should follow this method of knowing and doing. If you are not doing that, you cannot be called as a follower of Sri Ramakrishna's ideas. Once you direct all your senses and the mind to Sri Ramakrishna, that means you are active 100% and you are practical 100%. You mean what you say you will do it. Then what Sri Ramakrishna says, you will definitely see God. You will definitely talk to Him. How you are able to talk? Because the senses are there. Power of speech is there. Sure, you can talk to God. So to talk to God, it follows God has form. You can't talk to the formless aspect. You can't enjoy the beauty of God in a formless aspect. Maybe you may have a state of peacefulness, that's wonderful, no doubt. But to enjoy, to taste it, to experience it in the language of the human beings, you require a definite form of God. Sri Ramakrishna has said very emphatically that all the forms of God are real. So there need not be any doubts regarding that. So, and Sri Ramakrishna tells further, even though You appreciate formless aspect.